I started, I just wanted to create a place where anyone could learn how to play hockey and improve their skills. From there, I've kind of branched out. So at the moment, I make more than just how-to videos. I also make fun, like if I go on a trip to play hockey, or if I find an interesting place to play hockey. For example, recently I went to a cave.
A cave, to play hockey in a cave?
I played hockey. I drove 5 hours.
Oh boy.
So I got up nice and early, got my brother and a few friends, and we drove on a 5-hour road trip to Quebec. We played hockey in a cave, amazing location. Shot some really good footage, and then drove 5 hours back and made it home before midnight. So just little experience like that, I'll make like a vlog out of it, where it's like kind of telling the story of just going and showing off this awesome location. Not everyone can make a big road trip, or maybe you're halfway across the world. You can't make it to the cave, but I can sort of take people there and show off that really cool experience. So basically making hockey videos. I make videos and content about hockey.
And the key is you make hockey videos for a living.
Yes, yeah, I do it for a living.
And that's the story. This is your day job. This is not just a hobby, right?
Yes, that's exactly it. So,
okay. So now you have to explain to us, because everybody's obviously wondering, and I'm sure we'll get to the questions in a second, but how do you go from making quirky, eclectic content, fun, and it's all hockey based, right? That's the theme. How do you turn that into a living?
I'd say the biggest money could come from, there's a lot of ways to do it. The way I chose to do it is to try to make everything free for the people watching, so that I don't have to charge them. Because you can create content and then sell it to the people. Growing up playing hockey, the coaches are volunteers. Everyone in the organization is volunteer, and that makes it more affordable, so that for the kids. So for me as a coach, like putting that information online, I didn't want to really sell that to other people. So when I started, I didn't really have a plan to make money. I just wanted to help people. And as my following grew, and I had more and more people following and watching and tuning into the videos and reading the articles on my website, then I guess companies started to take notice, and they started offering to advertise with me. So that's where the money comes from. Basically advertising from bigger businesses. And at first I actually said no, like I didn't want the site to be that way. I didn't want it to, I find ads kind of annoying. So
how do you deal with that? We'll get to that, because that's the whole point, right? I mean, you make your money because the big name companies want access to your followers, right?
Yeah.
Who are your followers? Who's watching all these videos?
I have a big, I guess, if I can put them
Canadians for sure.
Yeah, of course. So there's a lot of Canadians that watch, because what Canadian doesn't love hockey. Then I'd say my next biggest following is from the States, Americans. And then after that, I have a very strong following, not a big following, but a very passionate following in Australia. And
It's interesting, Australia.
Yeah, I think, you're going to go with English-speaking countries. So, there are people that watch in Russia and Sweden, but, they have no English, right? So Australia, there's a few rinks dotted around the country.
Yeah, I was going to ask, yeah.
And the people...
There's one rink, and everybody's there, anyway.
Basically, anyone who loves hockey, they really love hockey. And if you're an Australian and you love hockey, you're kind of, I guess, alone.
Right.
It's hard, so maybe they watch my videos and they see the passion I have for the game, and they can kind of connect with me. And to find someone who knows how to take a wrist shot and stop and take a backhand and all this information, it's hard to find in Australia. So if you just start up and you want to learn, then they find me online, and it's there for them. So I'm like their personal coach on their computer.
Well, the thing is, you have that niche, because it's hockey, right? So people who are passionate about hockey will find you to learn all about it. But you're also a YouTube star, right? And you're a social influencer. You're part of this bigger industry. And then we have a question from Terry Baker.
Hi, Terry.
Who says, my son is interested in being a YouTuber and would love to know how to do it. Like, what are some of the things you have to do to actually be a successful YouTuber? And successful means you're paying the bills with this.
Yes. So great question. And I get it all the time. And what I get from mostly younger people is they want me to make them successful. They
want the cheat sheet.
They say, can you give me a shout out? They say, how do I get more followers? And when I started this, I didn't want more followers. I just wanted to make something that people wanted to watch. And I think that really is the key. It's don't try to get as many followers or fans as you can, because there are ways that you can get people to follow you, but it's not reflective of what you're producing. I see people do like giveaways and these little things to try to artificially build up how many people are following them, But when they post something, nobody really likes or comments. So they get very low likes and comments, which means people aren't really engaging in their content. So my advice is to make really good content, make something that people want to see, make something that people want to watch, make something that lasts, right?
How do you know what people want to see and want to watch?
You just start doing it. For me, I made something that I wanted like 10 years prior. Right. Like when I was a kid, I was out of my pond, I was trying to figure things out, I was trying new moves, I was watching highlights and then kind of replicating it. And I just wished that, I could get more information. So I looked when I was older and I said, well, that information still isn't there. I'll just put it there. So I was kind of making videos for the younger Jeremy, or right. Or for people who are like me at that time. Right. So I felt there was a need, that there was something missing online, and I just kind of filled that gap. But if you're not doing hockey specific, then just make something that you love, right? And maybe other people will like it, maybe not. It depends, I guess, on how eclectic your style is. But I mean, if you're the average person and you make something that you think is funny or that you think is worth watching, and then you share it with your friends and they all love it, well, that's pretty much it right there. You just keep on doing that and you make things that you love and that your friends love, and chances are that if you love it and your friends love it, well, the rest of anyone else like you and your friends are going to love it as well. And you just keep on doing it. So. And
quality though, because you keep bringing up quality.
Yeah.
How do you know how to make quality content? Like, does somebody teach you how to use your iPhone to get the best shot? How do you edit it? These are the kind of things that people just don't know behind the making of that
For sure.
stuff, right?
So the information is all out there if you pay attention.
Okay.
So for me, no one taught me how to make videos. But what I did is I just said, well, what do I like? So I went on, just from watching YouTube videos. I hate when there's a long intro. Some videos, there's this crazy flashy music and graphics, and that lasts for 45 seconds, right? And I'm like, I just skip through that. And then the person talks for 3 minutes, and I got to skip through all that.
So it's got to be short?
Well, it's
succinct?
Yeah, pretty much. So 5 minutes into the video, I get to what I actually wanted to see.
Right.
So that was my rule. Okay, get to the point quickly.
Right.
Don't, I have an intro in my video, but it's 5 seconds. Boo, boo, boo. Like, welcome to How to Hockey, right?
Right.
And I'm like, hey guys, in this video, I'm going to be doing this. Right? So it's kind of just learning from the videos I watch. I didn't like it if I couldn't see someone, right, because of bad lighting. So I was like, okay, I'll make sure I have good lighting. And that's easy. It's just, okay, the sun is there, it's hitting me there, you put the camera there. Right. Just simple stuff like that. I hate it if I can't hear somebody, right? If I'm going like this and I have to turn my volume up so I have good audio. So that's how I started. Make sure audio is good, lighting is good, I don't ramble, and if I can get a point across in 3 minutes, don't make it a 10-minute video.
Excellent. Well, there's a question coming in, maybe it kind of reflects on what you're talking about, from Nick Prosper.
Hello, Nick.
I am a streamer online for gaming. What is the smartest way to earn loyal followers to take it to the next level? And then we have another one coming up after that, so we'll keep it moving.
For Nick, I'd say the best way to earn a loyal following, is he saying, is just to have your personality. It's people,
that authenticity that we mentioned a lot in the piece.
Yeah, and it can be hard. Like it's easy to make content where you don't really put yourself out there, because I guess you kind of make yourself vulnerable if you show your true self. But that's really what people want, because if they feel like they see you smiling and like your different reactions and your just your personality, then they connect with you and they feel like they're your friend and they want to watch your next video. So it's pretty. So
the authenticity is key, right?
Put personality in. You have to be.
But you have to be yourself, because that's what we kept hearing when we were doing this piece. Is the number one virtual currency for people like you is you can't seem to pretend to be somebody else.
No,
you got to be you.
And
right?
and I've seen it before. You say something on this video and say a different thing in this video. People remember and they'll comment it. Right. Luckily, I don't think it's ever really happened in my video, but I've seen on other YouTubers. Oh, you said that this thing, and then here you said that, or and if you're just telling the people what they want to hear, well, then you're going to get caught in a lie, and then that really hurts your credibility. So,
okay. Well, here's another question or comment from Jamie Horowitz Rodriguez. Very interesting segment. It's very, very difficult to make money online. Do you want to say hi to Jeremy? To Jamie.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie. Glad you're enjoying it.
Jeremy, can you give us an idea of numbers? How many page views, video streams, etc.? How many were you reaching by the time companies became interested? Which is a really good question, because how do you get to that point where you become a market magnet, right?
Yeah.
And then start to actually make money on this.
Yeah, that is tough, because I think it really depends on what industry you're in. I'd say around, I mean, I don't really go, I don't look at my stats too much. Like the basics I pay attention to, like how many followers I have, but I'm not looking at really page views and watch time, that sort of thing.
But why don't you, do you remember, for example, how many followers you had before the first company came calling?
Yeah, not really.
No?
I know that I'd say maybe around 1,000 was when I felt like I was onto something, and that was like something that I could grow. I made a handful of videos, and people liked them, and they were getting, I'd say they were getting a lot of views, and that's what comes first. You get the views, and then you'll get the followers, and then you get, so I'd say once you get around 1,000, if you can do that in a short period of time, then you know you're onto something.
Right.
Once I'd say you get to about 10,000 followers, subscribers, then you're kind of like, I guess, important in that industry. Still pretty small in most industries or niches. Once you get to 100,000, then I'd say you're pretty set. Like that's when you have 100,000 followers, fans, people that engage on a regular basis. Companies will pay attention to that. But
well, there's a question coming up from somebody relating to advertisement and taking payment. But first, there's a question, a challenge from a woman named Lisa McMurtry. She
Thanks for watching,
asks,
Lisa.
why would you want to watch you? And that's the question. Why do my kids want to watch people play gaming? Because she's probably referring to that earlier question,
right. Yep.
or with toys or whatever
Yep.
else. Why do you think there is an interest in social influencers like you or anybody else?
I think because of people find themselves in their own home a lot more often. Going back 50 years, people used to go to like the roller disco, like the soda shop, or maybe.
Well, this is it, eh? Everybody's using these now, right?
Now everybody's like, you go out riding bikes and you meet people in the park and you'd have that social engagement. But now people are spending, like kids especially, 5-6 hours a day playing video games. I mean, depending on how much their parents let them play. But they're missing that social engagement, and they want feedback, they want experience, they want to share that experience. So talking about gamers, and I wondered this too, why do people want to watch other people play video games? But I thought about it a bit, and it's because they like to see how this person reacts. So they're playing the game and they know how they react, but they want to see other people and their reactions and how they got excited at a certain part, and they're like, oh, I got excited there. So it's just that they can relate to other people.
So it's almost like a form of socializing, right?
Yeah.
Or connecting.
Yeah, they're connecting,
Okay.
and I guess there's a community around that person, and then they can engage in the comment section as well. So.
Okay, so we'll go to the next question, or it's a question from
Sure.
Tony Albanese. He
Thanks
asks,
for watching, Tony.
Is it worth paying for sponsored ads in terms of more people see your page, like your page, etc.? So basically, I think we talked about it in the piece last night. There have been companies that have asked you for straight up promos, and you say no, and you addressed that in the piece last night. But why don't you address it now? Like, what is the risk you would take as a YouTuber, a social influencer, if you were to simply start becoming another paid celebrity?
Right. So is Tony asking, is it worth it for me to?
Well, is it worth paying for sponsored ads? I'm not quite sure, but maybe just address it from the point of view: is it worth it for you to take straight up money for an ad,
Right.
or to even pay for ads on your own channel?
I think I'll answer two different questions here. So for Tony, I think he's asking if it's worth it to sponsor ads to get more followers, and I'd say no. Your best ad is really good content. On Facebook, for example, I've tested advertise my Facebook page and see how many followers, and for like $20, I might get 20 new followers to my Facebook page. But if I put a really good video out there that gets liked and shared, by the end of that day, I might have 500 new followers to the page. So it's much more, and it's better for your fans too if you spend your time and efforts creating good content. So from that side, I don't really think it's worth it to pay to get more followers to your page. Make really good content, find them that way. That's what the advertisers are after anyways. They want good content.
Well, why don't you address that point, though? Because that's the point from the flip side. But what's the other side about, in terms of companies, like we talked about Bauer in the piece, they send you free things like expensive skates or other companies. How do you address that to your followers?
Right.
Because you do make it pretty clear that you're not just... You're there to showcase a product and give your take on it, right? As opposed to simply say, hey, buy these skates, they're amazing. Right?
Exactly.
Why is that important to you?
For me, it's because I want to create something that people love, right? I want to make something worth watching. I don't want to waste people's time. So if say a company sends me a pair of skates and says, we're going to give you $2,000, tell people to buy these. like, first of all, if I did, it wouldn't really work. Like, it's not effective anyways for them. So I have to educate them and say, well, like, I could just do that type of video if you're asking me to do like a promotion basically, but maybe 1,000 people will watch it and they won't really care, right? They're like, oh, another ad, see you later.
Right.
So, if somebody asked me to do that type of video, I said, you know what, how about you send me this product, and I have an idea to create something that would incorporate that product, and I can let people know that, you sent me this product to use in a video, but I'm going to make something that's really interesting. And that way, maybe 100,000 people see that video, they like it, they share it, and a lot more people know about the product that way. So that's kind of like, I guess, my specialty in creating videos about products is not to make it just a pushy ad, because nobody wants to see it anyways. Like,
but you are giving your own take. So if you find something along the way, you'll say, these aren't so great on this part of it.
Exactly.
Right?
So if I do just a straight review, which people do like to see, people like to see reviews, and I kind of only do it on products that I feel are popular. I've been asked to do reviews of products that are just like very specific, that I don't think a lot of people really want to see the review to start with.
Right.
So I don't feel it'd be valuable to the people. If it's a good product, a popular one, I could just do a review and I'll say, by the way, this company sent me the product to do a review. Maybe they paid me to do the review. Usually I charge for my time, because it can take about a week to shoot a good video, edit it. So if that's the case, then I'll say it in the start of the video so that people know.
That I got paid to do this. And
yeah,
okay.
I want them to I mean, I wouldn't want ever to do, say, a series of reviews, and then eventually word gets out that I was taking money, because then it makes people suspect, like, oh, was he just, so, if I say
he's just a mouthpiece,
exactly,
right? As opposed to giving us his actual
exactly.
take.
So
Okay.
I like to get that out of the way right off the start.
Okay.
I try to be as transparent as possible.
Okay. We have a couple more questions. Some are back from Jamie, who said thank you for your answer earlier.
No problem.
So in your opinion, he comments, it's more about registered followers than content consumption. I can tell you that in my small business, I generate over 40,000 to 50,000 page views per month on one blog,
Nice.
and it's still not easy to monetize.
Yeah, and it's probably depends on what area, or I guess what industry the blog is in. Actually, before I started this channel, I had a few websites that I was making money with, so I was kind of like involved in that. And I noticed that one industry, it was very easy. People were clicking on the ads like crazy, and another one, just no one ever clicked on the ads, and it was really hard to monetize. And that was like just kind of me playing around when I was in college, just trying to make a little extra income online. And yeah, it depends really on the industry. For this, for me, it's not really about page views.
Right.
It's about, for me, it's just about making good content, and that's all. That's my metric. Like, am I making videos that people want to see?
But it's also a good business model, because good content is what gets you the followers. So
Yes,
you're true to yourself, but you're also making money by doing that, right?
So from the business side, they want to see a big following.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jasdeep Singh Sembi asks, I have a domain name, morningusa.com. So wondering if you have any ideas to run a successful blog. Doesn't say what the actual content is about, but
Right.
again, is there, just to address these kind of questions, because a lot of people have them, is there at least like the golden rules, like 3 top things
Right.
that people should keep in mind?
So creating a blog and running a blog is, I'd say there'd be a different approach than making videos. There's different ways that you're going to get discovered. With a blog, you have to be willing to put in a lot of work. And
What's a lot of work?
Like a year's worth of regular adding content to it before you make any money. Like, you might make a little bit off, but don't be doing it to make money. Don't be doing it because you want to start by saying, you know what, if I put a year's worth of content in here and I don't make a penny, I'll be okay. You want to just make. You have to be prepared not to make money, pretty much.
Right.
Because if you're only going after the money, it'll be transparent in the content you're creating and how you're structuring your website. For me, I started without any ads on the site at all, because I wanted people to just be there for the content and just read and engage in what I was creating. And then eventually I did put ads on it, but I didn't put Google ads because I can't control those. I was only doing ads for things that I thought my readers would actually want. Okay. So, backyard rinks and products that I thought would help them and that sort of thing.
Well, that's a perfect segue to the next question from Thanos Efthimio. And I know how to pronounce that because I'm Greek too. Thanos, hello. So Thanos asks, do you go out and look for advertisers or do advertisers come to you?
Good question. At the start, I was looking for advertisers. Not really advertisers, but companies that would fit with what I was creating. Mm-hmm. For example, I was getting requests, what do you think of this product? What do you think of this product? And I knew that the people watching the videos wanted to see that. So I figured, well, if I might as well ask for these products, right? So I was reaching out. I started with hockeyshot.com. Mm-hmm. So they make training aids like nets and shooting pads and targets, which is going to help a hockey player improve anyways. So I formed a relationship with them. How
did you sell it? Because you probably didn't have much of a following at that
point,
was right?
a small following, but I mean, I think it was because I had the content, right? And that's the thing. Even if you have a really small following, but if you show, hey, here's a few videos that I did and here's my website, and you have a very small following, a smart business yep. Or they'll look at that and say, oh wow, this is really good. Yeah, this is awesome. This is going to blow up. Right, and then they're going to want to be involved in your growth, mm-hmm. right? If they see that growth potential and that you're serving, I guess, or creating things that people are going to love, they're going to want to get involved with that. And I think that's kind of the case with Hockey Shot. Mm-hmm. They saw that I was making really good videos, that they're helpful. Mm-hmm. They saw people were watching and engaging, so they sent me a bunch of products, and that's sort of how I started. I reached out to some of the big companies like Bauer and Easton and CCM, and they just all ignored me.
They did, eh?
Yeah. I sent emails. I sent follow-up emails. I tried different email addresses.
And when did Bauer now is sending you stuff,
yeah.
right? And they're apparently, when we talked to them for the story, they've ditched their traditional advertising strategy in terms of billboards to go to people, to just use people like you, because that's where the growth is. That's where that demographic that they want is. It's on tablets and it's following people like you.
Yeah.
So that's kind of ironic. How long did it take before they stopped ignoring you and actually started sending you stuff?
Probably 5 years.
Oh, 5 years.
I mean, I guess I might have been a little ahead of myself when I started asking, but to me, I was like, I got a big following. I've got like 5,000 followers and a website that gets this many views and that sort of thing. But if I wasn't in the NHL scoring 100 points a season, they don't really care, right? And I definitely see the value, and it was a little frustrating that other companies didn't see the value in what's out there and what's happening. And it's nice that I think they're still behind, to be honest. They still have a lot of catching up to do.
The companies in general?
Yeah, definitely, because I still see the traditional, spend a bunch on flashy graphics and big commercials and blast them everywhere, and that's it. But I'm engaged in grassroots, right? Like helping hockey players, and they don't really see the value, but I think they're finally coming around, which is nice.
Okay.
So just to wrap up the answer, I started reaching out to the companies, and now I get so many people reaching out to me, I have to say no.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Nice place to be. Nice problem to have, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it relates to the next question. Evan Crashaw asks, do you have to have money to make money? Or were you kind of,
Yeah, I mean...
Did you have to have a bit of a seed fund, right?
I'd say you have to be making money.
Right.
But
you have to have money to make money. The point being, I guess, maybe even when you're starting out, you have to, when you said you can't start with the expectation of doing well right away, right? So
yeah, I'd say,
you actually have a day job.
You have to be comfortable, and you have to be getting by at least. Like if you're gonna quit a minimum wage job where you're just barely paying rent, and you say, you know what, I'm just gonna quit that and start trying to do this. Well, you're gonna have. I mean, there's exceptions, of course, but I'd say in most cases you're going to be completely broke. Mm-hmm. Every transition that I did, it was a transition, and that's, I was doing something else before I started creating content like this, and I was making money off of it, and then I started this, getting into hockey without any intention of making money, because I was already doing pretty well with my other business, right? Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to do it to make something that people loved, and the plan was just to let it sit there, and that's it, and do it as a hobby. Eventually it started stealing so much of my time that I was like, okay, well, I'm making good money here. I could quit that and do this full time. I actually started making less doing this, but I enjoyed it a lot more. So I gave up something that I was making more money off of to make less, but to have a better, I guess, life. So more like a lifestyle business.
Okay, but then eventually you're successful to the point now that you are able to obviously live off this,
of course.
Right? Well, it relates to the next question too, because there's a lot of questions. So I'm sorry if I seem to be cutting you off, but
no
I just don't want to. I want to get to as many.
Yeah, sure.
Vicky Wesk Brocky asks, how do you get paid money for YouTube videos?
Yeah, so that's a really simple format that they have. Basically, in your videos, you can put advertising. So there's the little banners that are really annoying that you have to click the tiny little X to make them go away. If somebody clicks on one, I get some nods of approval. Yeah. Click, go away. You're blocking the screen.
Yeah.
I don't put any of those in my videos. I would make more money if I put them there, but I just find it's too much of an annoyance for people watching.
Yeah.
So if someone clicks on one of those ads, you get money. Then there's the pre-roll ads. So those are the ones that play before the video starts. If somebody watches the full ad, you'll get money. I think maybe if they watch half, you'll get half the amount.
Right.
If somebody clicks on one of those, you'll also get money. And there's other advertising. I think there's ones that you can put in the middle of a video if you have a long video. But basically, it's all just the ads that play before. There's the pop-up ones. There's also brand deals, but for strictly advertising, it's simple. It's plugged in through Google AdSense. So you create a Google AdSense account, you link it into your YouTube page, and then you can put ads on your videos.
And then you get a cut of that? Is it half or?
Okay, so I think it's 70-30. So
70 for YouTube, 30 for the creators?
No, 30% for AdSense, for Google. Google takes 30%.
Which owns YouTube? Okay, and then and you guys as the creators keep
70. I think that's a split. I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
And there's also like brand deals they can do outside of that.
Which is almost like a separate deal that you do, right? With those kind of companies. Okay. Jeffrey Haynes asks, do you ever find any of the products you promo or review are too expensive for the majority of your followers?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Like those skates in the piece last night, $1,000.
Well, the skates are $1,000, but I'm shooting the review for the people who are thinking about buying it, or because I find it's an interesting product. And for example, there was a net that I did a review of. It was $4,000.
$4,000 for a net?
Yeah.
I mean, that's not going to happen for most people. Yeah.
And I was like, how am I even going to say that number to people and have them not? So I actually made it a thing in the video. I'm like, so I'm sure you're wondering how much is this net? I said, don't exit the video, but it's $4,000. Now let me explain. So that's kind of how I put it.
So it became part of the shtick.
Yeah, I'm like, I know mostly, almost no one is going to, it's not a consumer product. If you think it's a good product, talk to your hockey association, or maybe if you own or you go to a training center, it could be a good product for a training center or something. So,
excellent. Okay. Kim Stacy asks, do you use a phone for shooting? I think you actually use a camera, right? And what app do you use for editing? These are good nuts and bolts questions.
For sure. So my video production, it ranges from a DSLR, which is you get that pretty cool cinematic shots. A camcorder for run and gun, more on the move shots. Then I use GoPros, which is good for, I guess, more.
How did you learn to use all these cameras?
Play with the buttons and see what comes out.
They're self-taught? You're self-taught?
Yeah, go on YouTube. The same way people learn how to play hockey. If they're from my videos, I'll go on YouTube.
You went on YouTube to find out how to use the cameras?
I have my camera in my hand and I flip through and I see all the settings and I just look at. And then I do shoot as well on my cell phone. So there's a handful of videos that I've done shot fully on my cell phone. It all depends on the feel. For reviews, I'll use a DSLR. I want that cinematic look, and if I want those intros, a more professional look. If it's more a lifestyle type video, I'll shoot a lot more on my phone because then it has that feel you're right there with me, and more, I guess, less planned out, more spur of the moment. So it depends on.
And how about for editing? Because she asks about that too. It's a good question. She also has another question about this. These are production type questions, which are interesting. But how about the app for editing? What do you use for that?
So I started with Cyberlink Power Director, which is maybe an $80, simple cut and paste type. Put your videos together. Those were my first videos on that. I moved up to Sony Vegas Pro because it came free when I bought the video camera. It came with it. I think that's a $500 program. That was kind of going from driving a golf cart to inside the cockpit of an airplane. Like there's just
It was a leap.
things everywhere. I'm like, how do I use this? So YouTube.
You're back to YouTube.
Yeah, back to YouTube.
Oh my goodness.
And I just recently made the switch to Adobe Premiere Pro, which I think is kind of the industry standard.
Okay.
And I think that costs like $20 a month through the Adobe.
Well, it's also related to Kim's other question, which says, what basic tools would you say are essential to start with? And maybe even just give a general sense of the cost, because these are basically your startup costs, right?
Yeah, I think it really depends on how creative you are and how you want to deliver your content. For example, there's a few YouTubers that I like to watch, and their videos consist of Microsoft Paint and a voiceover. And that's it. So literally all you need, you could have a computer from 1995 and you could create these videos. And they get like a million views for each video that they make because they're funny, right? And they just have to draw little stick figures to make their, kind of give a visual of what they're saying in their story, right? So work with what you have, do the best you can, and it really is about how you deliver and your personality and the quality of what you're creating. You know, start just doing it with whatever you have, and if you see it growing and you see something that could help you tell your story better or create better content, then get into it. But it's like if you spend $50,000 on all the top of line equipment, but your content isn't that good, well, it might look great, but people might not want to watch it.
It's funny that you actually learned how to use everything by going on YouTube to find somebody. That's interesting. Okay, Devin Johnson asks, if I do one type of content online, should I do different content to show what else I can do? Basically, he wants to know should he be the master of one as opposed to, you know,
I would
jack of all?
say,
Like, should he be versatile, or should he kind of develop a brand that is pretty specific?
Right. So definitely, once you're established, you should have a pretty specific, like, you know, two things I talk about is quality and consistency. So there should be consistency in what people are watching, because if you kind of do one style and the next style and the next style, people don't have that feeling like they know what's coming. People like that, I guess, comfort.
Right.
You know, if I watch a video from a certain like popular YouTuber, I know their style, I know their humor, I know sort of how they construct the structure of their videos, and I expect it, and I enjoy it, and that's why I keep on coming back to see that same style. But when you're first starting, I would say it's worth it because you don't really know what your style is, right? So jump all over the place and create all kinds of different things and find what you love and what kind of works the best with your personality. And you know, you probably won't get a big following at that time, but eventually you'll narrow down how you create your videos and what you like to talk about and what your channel is really about. And once you do that, then you can really streamline it, and then you'll get a large following.
And that's like developing a niche, but also a brand, right? Because I guess, I mean, does that also apply, do you think, not necessarily for the style and the look of it, but for the content as well? Like, do you think you would minimize your brand if you also were doing how-to basketball?
Absolutely.
Or how-to golf, right?
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, obviously that comes up like, oh, why not reach out to here, branch into that? But then, number one, it takes time away from what I'm doing if I want to do how-to basketball. And then people will be like, oh, so you're a basketball expert now, right? Like, and then they start to question how much I would actually know about hockey. So is he doing it because he loves hockey, or is he just trying to get lots of views? Now he's doing a basketball channel because he wants to get more followers, right? So then you kind of feel like you're alienating some of your fans and followers. So yeah, you should stay pretty true. But I mean, that being said, if say you've stuck to one style for a really long time and you're not really feeling it anymore, then sure, branch off and slowly depart to a different, you know, something that connects with you, because people change, right? So.
And I guess it could be part of your transition to say that to your followers, right? It's not working for me, so now I'm going this way, right? Because it's all about being that transparent, like you said, right? So there's a question from Justin Connors, and you answered it before, but people are kind of tuning in as we go along. So Justin asks, do you reach out to brands for brand deals, or do they find you? Yeah,
good question, Justin. So it's a bit of both. And it depends on if I see, you know, if I see a good relationship that, you know, something that I'm doing that I see another brand would fit really well with that, and it would help me create what I want to create, and I could provide value to them, then I'll definitely reach out and I say, hey, you know, for example, if I'm going to do a 30-day training series, and there's a company that has a product that I think would work really well within that series, I'd reach out to them and I'd say, hey, I'm planning on making 30 videos. I'd probably be using your product in at least 10 of them. It's going to be, you know, post it here over this period of time. You know, here's my follower count. Are you interested? And you know.
And what are you asking for them at that point? Products?
Yeah. Well, at that point, I would say, you know, it's going to help you sell products. So, you know, if they're going to make money off it, I obviously want to make money off it too. So, basically, just trying to find something that's fair, where I'm going to help them, they're going to help support me, and in return, I'm going to create something that is going to help the people that are watching. So, you know, I want to create a scenario where everyone wins. I don't want to, you know, take a product and use it and then charge a company and have them not make any money off of it, because that's not fair to them. I also wouldn't want to take a product and then promote it to my followers or use it in a way where it looks like it's valuable, and have them buy it and then they don't like it, because it's not fair to them. So basically just being fair to everyone involved.
It's a new kind of advertising though, and like Bauer said when we interviewed him, they're aware that when they send you skates, they're confident in their product. That's what they say as a company, but they do know there's a risk, because they are not buying a glowing review. They're basically buying awareness with your followers. So it sounds like you have to kind of be aware of that line, right?
Exactly.
As you go on.
And I can't fake it either. Like for example, the speed plates. It was my first. For people watching, the speed plates are a heat moldable footbed for inside the hockey skates, and they're hard plastic, and they form to your feet when you put them in the oven. So you know, I have to do my research and be educated on that. So I looked online and I heard that they were cracking. So I talked to and Glenn at the shop. He said the same thing. So I was like, well, I can't exclude that from the video, because then I'm kind of withholding information. So I called Bauer and I said, hey, I heard reports that they're cracking. Like, you know, I have to put that in the video. And they said, okay, that did happen. The first batch that we put out, we've made the footbeds thicker now, and it's helped fix that problem, or at least make, it's not as big of a problem. You know, so I put that in the video. I said, yeah, they were cracking. This is the issue, and you know, it's out there. But then in the comments section, of course, people are saying I had them and they cracked. Right. So if I didn't address it, and I said this is an awesome product, it fit. You know, I would have put that out there, and then in the comments, oh, you said it's great, but it cracks. I had it, and then it makes your credibility. So I have to be honest. If I'm not, the people commenting are going to be honest, and that's what I want. You know. Okay.
Casey Everton Palmer, somebody you met, says, Jeremy, we met at the World Juniors earlier this year. What are your eventual goals for this YouTube hustle? And will your kids follow in your footsteps?
Goals. That's a good question, because I have no idea. My goal is very short term. I think it's just, you know, make content that people love and continue to do that. And I'll let that take me where it takes me, and I'm going to follow the opportunities. For example, I had an opportunity to be a part owner of a hockey stick company for kids, and when that was presented to me, like I didn't plan that, I didn't have it as a goal, but somebody said, I'm going to make, you know, I'm making kids hockey sticks. I think you'd be great as a part owner to be involved and, you know, promote it on your website. And I said, sure, there's an opportunity for me, I'll take it, and we'll see what happens. So basically just keep making content, keep helping the hockey community, helping hockey players, and making content that they want to watch, and I'll see where it takes me, and I'll keep on adjusting.
And your kids? Think you're going to be handing cameras over to them anytime soon? They're kind of little though, right?
Yeah, so Mason, he's 2 years old in a few months, and then we have a baby girl, she's about 11 days old, so I don't see them really helping.
But by 2, they'll probably be like taking your own videos, shooting your videos.
Yeah, so Mason's been in a few videos, and I mean, if he wants to be involved, absolutely. You know, I'll let him find his own way as well. But if he wants to start making YouTube videos, I'll definitely support him. And you know, I guess I'd be a valuable asset in that because I have the experience.
You can show him a thing or two for sure. Yeah. So Jeffrey Haynes asks, and Dave Phillips seconds his question, so we'll bundle the 2 questions together. Do you have a magic number on the length of your videos? Meaning, is there a certain amount of time you find garners more views? And Dave Phillips is adding on to that. He's heard about things. He's heard about things about algorithms that improve video visibility. Is that something you take into account?
Yeah.
Basically, is there a formula?
Well, so the second question played right into my first answer. Right. So my magic number is about 3 to 5 minutes on YouTube. I find I didn't think you know, when I first started, I put all the information out there, I edited it, and I put it online. And I realized that people have a bit of a short attention span. The 7, 8, 9 minute long videos weren't really getting as many views.
Is that because these are tutorials? Like they should be shorter, you mean, or?
I think it's just because, you know, I could make a 9 minute video really in depth, but I could get pretty much the same information across in about 4 or 5. So I think it's just better quality if it's a shorter video.
And you kind of said you say it up front what it's going to be about.
Yeah,
right?
and I think I find that holds people into the video longer if I tell them what I'm going to talk about in the video, because then they'll wait until all the points have been like talked about,
Right.
And they get an idea of what they're going to be watching. So I started with longer videos. I've shortened it up to, I try to do between 3 to 5 minutes.
Okay.
On Facebook, I like to do shorter videos, maybe about a minute and a half. People want to scroll past it pretty quickly.
How about audio? Does audio work better on one or the other? Obviously for YouTube, but Facebook we hear people don't even want to listen to stuff on Facebook.
You have to add
they
the
just want to read it.
subtitles and stuff like that.
So you have to take that into account?
I haven't really gotten into that or tested that. Instagram, I like to do even shorter videos, like 20, 30 seconds, like really quick ones. Talking about algorithms, I have noticed that recently, just by accident. I did a live stream that's about 45 minutes, and it had a ton of views. And I was like, well, that's interesting, because like it goes out, like my sweet spot was between 3 to 5 minutes for a video. I found like the 9-minute long videos didn't get too many views, but then this one that was 45 minutes long, I saw it everywhere on YouTube. And I think because YouTube, it was probably part of the algorithm that they were looking for longer form content to promote to people. They had enough 3 to 5 minute long videos because that's what everyone was making. So they were trying to find, the longer stuff. And I think that they do, actually I know that they do pay attention to how long people watch a video. If I put a 10-minute video up and people watch the first 10 seconds and leave, YouTube is going to bury it. It's not going to be seen. If I do a 10-minute long video, people watch the full, like most of the people watch the full video, they're going to show that to a lot of people because they're watching the view time.
Okay.
So now I base the length of the video depending on who's going to be watching it. My most recent videos about baking skates and profiling, I make them longer because people want that deeper information.
Yeah, they want that detail, that level of detail.
Yeah.
But it does, so 3 to 5
3 to 5 for most, like quick,
Okay.
for a fun video, entertaining video, or like a review, I try to keep them short, give the people what they want, and then they can move on.
So we only have time for a couple more questions, and here's this algorithm. This one seems to be like the questions keep coming, so there's definitely interest. But I'll just quickly scan them to see if there's a couple of that sound similar.
Yep.
Kim Stacy is back. She's again asking about how many people work with you on your team to produce your videos. So let's make that quick.
Yep.
And then there's some more questions about how you feel about the impact your videos have. So let's address Kim's really quickly in terms of your actual team.
I have a full-time team of 1, which is myself. I do reach out, like I have people that I sort of like contract to help every once in a while. My wife actually helps a lot with just like emails and like day-to-day reminding me to answer people and stuff like that. But as far as video production, I do it pretty much all myself. And I've just recently started working with Daniel Schiffer. He's a really good guy out of Toronto. He shot the Sounds of Hockey video that I thought was like really well done. And I'm trying to work with other people now. So
okay, and what do you think, Andrew Bujold? I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. Andrew, he asks, what do you think of Linus from Linus Tech Tips? Is he some kind of
I'm not familiar,
guru?
but I will look him up. He's probably
one of the
pretty
biggest
popular.
Canadian tech gurus in Canada, who's built up a YouTuber site to have almost 20 employees now in a studio warehouse. So sounds like somebody you want to get to.
I'll look him up. Thank you for the recommendation.
And David Flanagan has a really good question. How does it make you feel knowing that you and your videos help and inspire people all over the world? Like you mentioned Australia, this is not just Canadian, obviously, right? Your channel and products reach places an advertiser can only dream of. So what do you think of that influence?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for mentioning that. And it is a really big honor. And usually it's when I'm like alone or driving my car or something, like it kind of hits me that like, wow, like there's
I'm
this
making
many
money
people.
on this.
or when I get like a kid that emails me from Italy and says that he learned a hockey stop because of me, and then I'm kind of like, geez, like those little moments.
Yeah.
It really like I didn't think that it would be me. I just started doing it because no one else was doing it, and I took it seriously once I saw that people really wanted it, and I do try to be like the best at it that I can be. I don't take it for granted, the position I'm in. I always try to improve what I'm doing, either my hockey skills, my knowledge, but like knowledge across the board. I want to be make better videos, create better content, and be more knowledgeable about hockey as well, so that I'm not just sitting at the top and coasting. I always work to be better.
And do you, I mean, in terms of the future, what do you see? Say, what's your 5-year plan, or is that like an eternity in YouTube days? I don't know. Like things change so quickly.
That's
right?
the thing. YouTube could get taken over by some other video site next year. Like maybe apps become like maybe nobody watches videos on their computers anymore. I have no. It's hard to predict. So I don't try to think too far into the future. I've got ideas of and plans for the content that I'm creating. You know, I always have like sort of if then, you know, if this happens, then I'll probably do this, and if this happens, I'll probably do that. But I think because of I guess my notoriety, if that's the right word, or popularity.
Your popularity, yeah.
Yeah, then if something happened where, you know, people didn't want to watch the videos anymore, there's a lot of different spaces I can move into. So yeah, I don't really have a long-term plan. It's just keep on making good content and helping the hockey world, and just be involved, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Okay, excellent. I think we're going to wrap on this now. I think we're pretty much done. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
I got to give a shout out to my YouTube channel.
Absolutely. Go ahead. You do it. You do it, because I'll mess it up.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to see what I'm up to, if you're a hockey player, you know hockey players, let them know about my YouTube channel. I post at least once a week on youtube.com/hockeymovement, so you can search that up. And then if you search everywhere else, I'm known as How To Hockey. So there's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and I also have my old videos on YouTube. It's How To Hockey.
And you said, how often do you post?
On the Hockey Movement, which is the channel that I post once a week at least. Sometimes I'll do twice a week, and sometimes I'll skip a week if, you know, I have a baby due.
Yeah, you have a brand new baby at home and you
Exactly.
need to get some sleep. Okay,
Yeah,
excellent. Thank you so much for joining us.
No
That was
problem.
great. We got a ton of questions, and I'm sure there's a ton more that we couldn't get to. But anyways, thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're good. We are good. That was excellent.
Yeah, that was fun.
What did you think of the questions?
Great.
Did you think they seemed like what you would be expecting?
Yeah, it was nice.
There's a lot of breakdowns in terms of how do you actually make this work?
Yeah. Usually the questions I get, depending on the audience that tunes in on Facebook, it's just people that want to say hi. So I'll be like, hey, it'll be like, hello from Australia, hello from here, hello from there.
Yeah.
And then a few people asking like tips on like how to improve something.